Today, I'm here with Shawn Lin, committed to Columbia for football. We're going to talk about his experiences in high school football and the mental and physical aspects of it. Thanks so much for being here.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
All right. What's your first interaction with football like?
I think I was probably in like third grade or something, and we were at a family friend's house, and we were all watching a movie around Christmas. And I think I saw like some dude wearing like big shoulder pads.
Yeah,
Sorry, I saw some dude
it's okay.
wearing
It's
big
okay.
shoulder pads, and I was like, oh, I wonder what the those big shoulder pads are for. And I saw him
Yeah.
like it was in a movie, and I saw him running out and playing, and I was like, okay, well, I'm interested in that. I'm gonna find out what that was, and I'm gonna find out what that is, and I'm gonna try it out, and then here I am.
All right. As a kid, were you always like on the bigger side? Did you always want to play like defensive end?
As a kid, I've played defensive line my whole life.
Mhm.
Basically, I played offensive line and defensive line, and then I gradually levitated more to the defensive side. And I've always wanted to be a defensive end, but I'm more versatile. I'd say I can go around anywhere. Be I could be a nose guard, I could be a D tackle, I could be a DN, I could be a three tech DN and edge. So I'm more versatile all around, and I've definitely been on the bigger side my whole life. So the coaches were it was always an automatic, yeah, you're on the line for sure.
All right. Do you think you're always so big because like purely genetics, or you worked out a lot, or
So that's actually really funny because I have a twin who doesn't go to Loyola. He
okay.
went to Day, but
Yeah.
he's actually like he's probably like 5'10". I'd say
Okay.
like yeah, I'd give him like 5'10", 5'11". And my parents both weren't like super tall either. My mom's pretty short. She's not super short, but she's pretty short. And my dad's probably like the same height as my brother. My brother's a little
Yeah.
taller, so I think my dad's like 5'9", 5'10", probably.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely like I said, it's kind of just I got blessed. Drank a lot of milk growing up, ate a lot,
Yeah.
and just kind of just grew into my body. But I've always been the bigger kid for sure, like growing up. So
Have you ever felt like you didn't fit into like the Asian standards, I would say?
um, definitely get a lot of looks when I go back to Taiwan because everyone's kind of just like, whoa, like it's not normal seeing someone this tall. But so I lived in Irvine for about
Hmm.
like 5 years, I
Hmm.
think. And then ever since then, I've grown up in Newport. So obviously, a lot of my friends right now are predominantly white. So like there, I guess, yeah, I could definitely see myself like not fitting in. But a lot of the Asian friends I still have, that I met through Loyola, and also all the other people that I've met along the way, and all my Irvine friends, like, no, I felt like obviously like people see me more as like, oh, like holy shit, excuse my language, but
It's
you're
fine.
pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're an athlete or not. It's very strange to see like a 6'4", 6'5" Asian dude just in
Yeah.
general. So like I think it's definitely just like it's a blessing in that I just happened to had, and I kind of just took it and ran with it. So I've definitely had my interactions and been called different names.
Mm.
It's something I actually wrote about in my college application essay. That was a main topic of mine. Um, definitely have been called names before, and I mean, it's understandable because the norm is that growing up, like you don't really see as many Asian athletes, and
Yeah.
so it's definitely kind of cool to try and just break that norm. And yeah, I've definitely had like people, oh, look at Jeremy Lin on the football field. Why is Yao Ming playing
Yeah.
football? And I've always definitely have affected me, but it's also been a kind of like a source, like a driving source for me to continue to be a better like player and kind of just try and break that norm and make that a standard or like a normality like that. Hey, like Asian people, we play football too.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's so cool how you use that negative comments to like fuel yourself to become better. I mean, when I was a freshman, I mean, I play football right now, and watching like
Mhm.
you and Sam play, I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that was really cool. Seeing another
yeah.
person that looked like me play football.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure. Like, and I've gone like DMs before, like, hey, like some dude from Texas DM me, hey, like, I'm an aspiring defensive end slash outside linebacker, blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
He was Asian too. And he was, hey, like, you really inspired me seeing another Asian football player. Like, do you have any advice? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, and it's kind of just nice seeing that, like, me and Sam, like, people like me and Sam are kind of able to break the barrier and continue to set the standard
Yeah.
for the upcoming next generations. And I think like there have been past generations who have built the base, and we're kind of just moving on with it. And it's kind of nice though, because like people like you who want to play football and look at us and see that we've done it. So it kind of just makes other Asian people know like, hey, like, you guys have did it, and we can too. So I think that's really cool.
Do you have any yeah, advice for any defensive linemen in particular?
Advice, man. Like honestly, it's just perfect your craft. I mean, you like I think it was 10,000 hours or something like that. Definitely dedicate your time to just bettering yourself, not only on the field but off of it. But football wise, I would say just grind in the weight room. The weight room
Yeah.
is going to save you. It's going to help you a lot. Perfect your technique and just be the best player you can on the field, as in being a good teammate, and
Mhm.
off of it, like keeping your grades straight so that you don't cost your teammates, you
Yeah.
having to sit out a game, being ineligible. But I think those are like some of the advice and tips that I can give to any other defensive lineman out there.
So taking time for your mental health is obviously pretty important to you. Um, have you, how was managing the pressure, like academically and athletically? How did you handle all that?
So I transferred in from Mater Day
Hmm.
after my sophomore year during the whole COVID period. That was when I kind of decided, because a good buddy of mine who lives, so I live in Orange County, so
Yeah, it's a
definitely
far drive.
managing mental health is definitely, it was a big factor in how I kind of survived this past year. I
Hmm.
got lucky with COVID, honestly, because junior year I didn't have to drive up. I just took, it was just online Zoom
Yeah.
classes the whole time. But senior year was definitely kind of a change, having the, drive anywhere from 45 minutes to 2 hours, depending on LA traffic,
Yeah.
up to school, and then going through school the whole day, then going to practice, and then getting home at probably, I'd say like 8 or 9 sometimes. So yeah, I think a lot of what I was able to do and accomplish was kind of just being able to give myself time, kind of just relaxing, and definitely taking advantage of like the Saturdays and Sundays that I have.
Hmm.
Obviously, I was at school Monday through Saturday throughout the season, but when I got home on Saturday, I definitely spend time with friends and spend time with family, and that really helped me a lot for sure. But academically, I could say that Loyola is a very academic like school, very academic, like high, it's very rigorous. So it was definitely a change of scenery, because I'd say that Mater Day wasn't as hard, nearly as
Hmm.
hard. So I think talking with the teachers too, letting them know what my situation is, and just getting extra help, and letting my teachers like be aware of the situation that I'm in for
Yeah.
the commute and everything, and having to play sports definitely helped me a lot too.
I mean, modern day is like one of, like, if not the best football programs in the nation. And how does that really compare to Loyola's?
Yeah, coming from literally the powerhouse in the entire country to Loyola was definitely a big change.
Yeah.
I'd say, well, obviously one of the things that I did notice was the level of play.
Hmm.
You have a bunch of 3 to 5 stars, like all around the field at Mater Day. You have backups who are getting reps, obviously, who are also
Yeah.
4 or 5 stars who are national recruits, getting a lot of offers and a lot of attention. So I think the main difference was seeing the depth chart compared to Loyola, but also I think the level of play. But going up against someone like Sam every single day, I think that kind of like was enough.
Hmm.
It reminded me a lot of Marde, because Sam is a great player. Like I said, going to UCLA, that's not something everyone can do. And
Hmm.
I think going up against him every day really challenged me and made me a better person. So I think the level of competition here is also good. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that was the difference stuff for sure.
I mean, with all this stuff that modern day is doing, how did you made yourself stand out in at Loyola? And how was the recruitment process like? Did you go to a lot of showcases and stuff?
Yeah, so I the junior year heading into my senior year, that's the that summer period. That was when I went to the most camps I have went to in like a long time.
Hmm.
I had a couple of private workouts here and there, but that were set up. But I think the recruitment process was it was. I mean, everyone says trust the process, and I did, and I benefited from that. But I mean, to be honest, it was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Like it's every football player who's been through it knows. Like unless you're obviously like a national top five, like a 5-star recruit. I
Yeah.
mean, they work their asses off too. They deserve everything that they had, but they have. But for sure, like there were times where like you just like think about like you're thinking about giving up. Like, hey, maybe this isn't the path for me, but kind of just kept my head down and kept working, grinding my ass off during COVID. Worked as hard as I could through the camps. I mean, I went to probably like 7 different camps when I was out in Texas for a little bit,
Wow.
flew back to California, went up to USC and UCLA, did a workout at UCLA, and then flew back out to the East Coast where I met up with the all the Ivy League schools, went to
Yeah.
5 camps there. But yeah, for sure I think the camps really benefited me a lot. And I think that's how I ended up in the position that I like am right now
Hmm.
was going to the SMU camp and finally meeting the coaches. And luckily the D-line coach from Columbia was there as long as um along with the coach who recruited me in the Southern California region that he was in charge of. So I got really lucky there and I did really well there and they were impressed. Then he was like, hey, like we want to offer you, but you got to come out to one of our camps. And then went to one of their camps and then it happened. And that was that.
Were you interested in any other schools besides Columbia?
Oh yeah, for sure. I was definitely interested in um, a lot of the other Ivy League schools for sure. Cause I knew I had the grades to kind of like get like that the grades, the
Mhm.
academic part wasn't an issue for me. Like my transcripts weren't an issue. It was more
Yeah.
of all the other things, all the other intangibles that I mean, I did what I could, but
Yeah.
also I was definitely interested in some of the Texas schools for sure, but more of like a as like a preferred walk on opportunity, as well as some of the schools in California too. But I was definitely for sure interested in a lot of other different schools. I kept my variety open. I kept an
Mhm.
open mind throughout the recruiting
Ye-
process.
So it seems like you're pretty academically driven too. Did you have like those stereotypical Asian parents who are always like writing you about grades and stuff?
I think my parents were definitely way more lenient, and I think that's what also like helped me a lot. I mean, obviously they were on my ass like
Yeah.
a lot about like SATs, ACTs, which COVID kind of saved me with too because Columbia didn't require test scores, which was a lifesaver.
Yeah.
Um, but I think yeah, for sure, my parents were so my parent. I'm a first generation like I'd be a first generation college student. My sister just graduated. She was the first out of my family to graduate from college. She went to
Wow.
USC. And I think that also kind of drove me to like be a little more hard on myself and just continue to like bang out schoolwork and all the other stuff that was obviously a no-brainer. But
Yeah.
my parents definitely, my mom was definitely on my ass. Um,
Yeah.
but I think that also helped me a lot too. I mean, she wasn't the parent that was, oh, like get all A's. Like she obviously like wanted that, but she was more of, hey, like don't get C's, get high B's, do what you can and just talk to your teachers and just do your best. And that's like all we can ask for. So I think that really played into everything else as well.
You mentioned that you had a twin brother. Are you like always in, like I would imagine if I had a twin brother, I would always be competing with him, whether it was like football or academic work. And he's still at Mater Day, right?
No, so he graduated this year,
Oh, okay,
but
yeah, with you.
right, but yeah, we were definitely competitive, I think, but I think the competitiveness between me and him kind of built like it kind of helped me in a lot of
Yeah.
different ways. And it also helped me because my brother, like, he's one of those guys who's like, oh yeah, like if he can do it, he will, but like
Mhm.
sometimes he'll get lazy. So I think like that also helped because it made me feel like I have to set the standard as the older brother. Like, hey,
Yeah.
like let's do this. Like, let's get good grade. Let's get as good as grades as we can possible, and just like make our parents proud. So I think that really helped because my brother didn't play football,
Oh,
but
okay.
also like him, like seeing what I was doing, I think also encouraged me because I wanted to make my family proud. Obviously, that's my why. Like that's my reason doing this. Obviously, I have other reasons, but I think my twin brother definitely did inspire me and drive me to become like the person I am today.
Wow. Going back to your training, since you're always like grinding out everything, you're always like working really hard. Have you ever dealt with any injuries?
Um, Luckily, I wasn't a guy who had like a bad injury at all throughout my career, and I hope I never will.
Yeah.
And I very grateful that God had given me that throughout my football playing career. But the only time that I had a really bad injury was in like sixth grade or fifth
Okay.
grade, and
Yeah.
I had broken my arm. But luckily, like other than that, nothing bad. Definitely like obviously with football like comes the long term
Mhm.
injuries. Like my fingers are all messed up and whatever, my shoulders messed up, knees. But um like bad injuries now, like thank goodness. But yeah.
Do you think you did anything in particular that helped you with that? Like maybe a lot of stretching, good nutrition, stuff like that?
I've been trying to get on that more, like trying to take care of my body more often. I think that's one thing I can also recommend to a lot of people because that actually takes you a long way, just
Hmm.
outside of football too. But um, I think definitely the strength training that I
Yeah.
was enduring throughout the COVID season helped me out a lot. Just building my muscles and making sure that my muscles can withstand everything that I'm gonna do throughout the season. So I
Yeah.
think that also really helped me a lot for sure.
All right. Looking forward, do you know what you're gonna do at Columbia? You know what you're gonna study at?
I'm going in undecided because I kind of still want to figure everything out, but definitely somewhere along the lines of business, probably business
Mhm.
or business management is what I want to do for
All
sure.
right.
Because yeah, for sure.
Is there one piece of advice you would give? Like generally, maybe it could be to incoming freshmen, high schoolers or football players.
Yeah, so for sure, study hard.
Yeah.
Um, Definitely take high school seriously because it will affect your future. And obviously, everyone has a different route. People will not do well in high school and still be more successful than a lot of people. But for sure, try and study as hard as you can, hit the books, and be interested in everything. You know, meet everybody and keep an open mind throughout high school. But also, I'd say try sports. I think sports is easily one of the best things that you could try and do, even if you're not the best player on the field. I mean, that's where I've met. That's Football is where I've met my closest friends
Mm.
and where I've met people that I can always rely on and text, and I know that they can always rely on me to do so. And it also just builds character,
Yeah.
makes you a better person overall. But I think that's probably all I can kind of give off the top of my head right now for sure.
All right. Thanks so much. That's all I have for you today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.